Google is now one of the most powerful companies in the world. It dominates internet search, handles billions of queries every day, and has reshaped how we access information. But would you believe that the company that runs the internet today started as a research project in a college dorm room? This is the untold story of Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Larry Page was born in 1973 in East Lansing, Michigan. Sergey Brin followed a year later in Moscow, Russia, and moved to the US with his family when he was 6. Both grew up in families of academics, surrounded by books, science, and technology. From a young age, Larry was fascinated with computers and engines, often taking apart machines to understand how they worked. Sergey, on the other hand, had a natural curiosity for math and problem solving, often creating programs to solve puzzles and decode information. By the time they were in college, both were exceptionally talented. Larry enrolled at the University of Michigan, studying computer engineering, while Sergey went on to study mathematics and computer science at the University of Maryland. Their paths would eventually cross at one of the most prestigious universities in the world, Stanford University. In 1995, Larry came to Stanford for his PhD in computer science. Sergey joined him in 1995 after transferring from Maryland to Stanford. It was at Stanford that they started working together on a project that would change the world forever. At first, it was simple. They wanted to find a better way to search the internet. Back then, search engines were clunky and inefficient. Yahoo, AltaVista, and Excite existed, but their results were often irrelevant or spammy. Larry and Sergey realized that the key to improving search was not just counting how many times a word appeared on a page, but understanding how pages linked to each other. They created an algorithm called PageRank, which ranked websites based on the number and quality of links pointing to them. In simple words, they treated links as votes, giving more credibility to pages that were referenced by others. This idea, though simple, was revolutionary. It meant that the best content would naturally rise to the top of search results. Larry and Sergey believed that search should be fast, accurate, and user-friendly, a stark contrast to the cluttered portals of that time. The humble beginning. In 1996, they began working on their search engine as a research project called Backrub. It ran on Stanford servers, crawling the internet and analyzing links. By 1997, they had a working prototype and realized their idea had massive potential. But starting a company was not easy. They faced skepticism from investors and academics alike. Many thought the market for search was already saturated, or that 2 graduate students could never compete with giant corporations. Undeterred, Larry and Sergey moved forward. They realized they needed funding to scale their project beyond Stanford servers. They pitched their idea to angel investors and tech pioneers. One of the earliest investors was Andy Bechtolsheim, co-founder of Sun Microsystems. He was so impressed by their concept that he wrote a check for $100,000 before Google even legally existed as a company. That single act of belief kickstarted the journey from research project to tech giant. In September 1998, Google was officially incorporated in a small garage in Menlo Park, California. This garage, rented from Susan Wojcicki, who later became the CEO of YouTube, became the birthplace of a company that would eventually change the world. Google's initial office was modest. A few desks, several computers, and 2 founders working tirelessly day and night. The early struggles. The first challenge was simple. The internet was growing, and so were the data needs. Larry and Sergey had to figure out how to store and process massive amounts of information efficiently. They built custom servers from inexpensive parts, connecting hundreds of machines to create a distributed system. This system allowed Google to crawl millions of pages and deliver results in a fraction of a second, a feat no other search engine could match at the time. Another challenge was monetization. Google's search engine was free to use, and it had to stay that way to attract users. In the early days, Larry and Sergey experimented with different ways to make money without compromising the user experience. Their first revenue model came from small text ads displayed alongside search results. These ads were relevant to what users were searching for, unlike the pop-ups and banners on other sites. This concept eventually became Google AdWords, the foundation of Google's revenue empire. Despite these innovations, growth was slow. Many users didn't understand why Google was better than Yahoo or AltaVista. To attract attention, Larry and Sergey focused on speed, accuracy, and simplicity. Google's homepage remained minimalistic, a single search box on a white page, while competitors cluttered theirs with news, links, and advertisements. Rapid growth. By 2000, Google's traffic was growing exponentially. They had indexed over 1 billion pages, far more than any competitor. Investors started taking notice, and Google began raising more funds to expand operations. Venture capital poured in, helping them hire engineers, expand data centers, and refine the search algorithm. In 2001, Eric Schmidt joined as CEO. Larry and Sergey realized that while they were geniuses at technology, running a large company required experience in management, strategy, and finance. Schmidt brought stability and credibility, allowing Google to scale globally. During this time, Google also started experimenting with new products. Gmail, launched in 2004, redefined email with its large storage space and powerful search capabilities. Google Maps changed navigation forever, while Google News organized information in ways that made it instantly accessible. Every product followed the same principle: simplicity, speed, and user focus. The turning point. A major turning point came with Google's IPO in 2004. The company went public with a unique approach, offering shares online and emphasizing transparency and innovation. The IPO raised over $1.6 billion, giving Google the capital to pursue more ambitious projects. With this, Google expanded into mobile operating systems, acquiring Android, and later buying YouTube in 2006, which would become one of the largest platforms for video in the world. By focusing on innovation and user experience, Google steadily gained dominance. Search became synonymous with Google, and its algorithms set the standard for the industry. Competitors like Yahoo and Bing could never match Google's efficiency and reliability. The global empire. Today, Google is more than just a search engine. Its parent company, Alphabet, oversees businesses ranging from artificial intelligence to self-driving cars. Products like Google Chrome, Google Drive, Google Photos, and Google Assistant touch billions of lives daily. Google Ads and AdSense have created one of the most profitable advertising ecosystems ever, generating trillions in revenue over the years. Larry and Sergey's vision of organizing the world's information had come true. But the journey was never easy. From late nights coding in dorms, arguing over algorithms, facing skeptical investors, and fighting competitors, every step was a lesson in persistence, innovation, and execution. Lessons from Google's rise. The most important lesson from Google's journey is the power of execution. Larry and Sergey had a brilliant idea, but they didn't stop at research. They built infrastructure, solved technical problems, and executed relentlessly, all while keeping users at the center of their decisions. They took calculated risks, like investing in their own servers, experimenting with monetization, and acquiring new companies strategically. Another key lesson is adaptability. Google did not just stick to search. It expanded into every area where technology could solve a real problem. Gmail, Android, YouTube, and AI were not just experiments. They were extensions of a vision to make information accessible and useful for everyone. Lastly, teamwork mattered. Larry, Sergey, and early employees worked with shared passion and complementary skills. Where one had vision, the other had technical depth, and together with early investors and managers like Eric Schmidt, they created a system that could scale globally. Today, Google is everywhere. It powers search engines, smartphones, email, video platforms, maps, and even emerging technologies like AI. It has fundamentally changed how humans access and interact with information. And it all began with a research project in a dorm room, 2 curious minds, and a relentless drive to solve a simple problem: make searching the internet better. Larry and Sergey's journey reminds us that even the biggest, most powerful companies start with small steps, clear vision, and unwavering execution. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to hear more stories about the people and ideas that change the world.